Presidents Delcy Rodríguez and Donald Trump continue their wonderful relationship with perfect conversations, excellent deals, and juicy business propositions for the benefit of the peoples of Venezuela and the United States. The relationship is courteous, terrific, which is driving nuts extremists in both Venezuela and the United States and other parts of the world. The Democratic Unity Roundtable, which encompasses most small political parties that used to support Edmundo González Urrutia for last presidential election, do not recognize presidency of Delcy Rodríguez, as they see it as a continuation of previous dictatorship of Nicolás Maduro. However, it will be unclear what their stance will be, as the international community is slowly getting to terms with the interim government, which is already producing tangible results in terms of legal petroleum trade being conducted and improved relationship with governments such as Colombia, Spain, Brazil, and of course the United States. The Democratic Unity Roundtable, which is represented by a faction of COPEI President Enriquez, is not proposing any conditions or suggestions for legitimacy. It sounds like the Democratic Unity Roundtable wishes to remain in the illegitimacy narrative forever, which of course would continue harming Venezuela. Venezuela's economy continues in terrible shape. Despite all great news, economic lags will take time to be felt positively by the population. The exchange rate differential between official and market rate between Venezuelan bolivar and United States dollar remains almost double, and while the official exchange rate devalues rapidly and the market rate appreciates slightly, convergence is not expected within the next few days yet. During World War II, United States and United Kingdom benefited from Venezuela's oil production and exports. It is likely that now that Venezuela has been solidly reinserted into the Western Hemisphere and American sphere of influence, Venezuela will sell petroleum to the advantage of allies. While China, Russia, and Iran, which used to be Venezuela's friends and now are part of an opposing sphere of influence, will need to seek their energy sources from elsewhere. Iran continues blocking access to internet through Starlink and deploying an alternative data transmission mechanism, as they are in fierce competition with the United States and may no longer count on Venezuela toward their side. Venezuela's role in the spheres of influence of the world is pivotal. The multipolar world had some chance to succeed because Venezuela was part of it. But now that Venezuela is securely entrenched into the American sphere of influence, and Presidents Delcy Rodríguez and Donald Trump get along so well, it has instantly become more likely that the American way again will succeed, and the decline of the American empire cannot be announced yet, or at least within the next few decades. Interlaces shows 79% approval of Delcy Rodríguez presidency, while Mega-Analysis proposes a 93% disapproval rate for Delcy Rodríguez presidency. Venezuelan opinion polls are unreliable as they are heavily tilted either to the opposition or to the government. Middle of the ground opinion polls are utterly unavailable. Careful readers are required to examine both opposition and government data and establish a middle ground in between to get some sense of reality. It is likely that Delcy Rodríguez approval is higher than Nicolás Maduro's approval, while opposition supporters are rightfully skeptic on recent great developments announced by Delcy Rodríguez government, such as economic liberalization and release of political prisoners. As the Chavez-Maduro socialist regime has been in place for 27 years, and Delcy Rodríguez is considered a continuation of the previous regime rather than a fresh start, even though her being on the lead role represents a fresh start, because it is the first time a business-oriented, educated person occupies Miraflores Palace, which was not the case with dictators Chavez or Maduro. The Department of Justice of the United States has considered that invasion into Venezuela was led by Maria Machado's constant requests for military action. This provides legal ground for Venezuelan authorities to arrest Mrs. Machado if she ever sets foot back in Venezuela due to treason to the homeland, as she has explicitly asked for bombing another country, and the other country accepted Mrs. Machado's request. Mrs. Machado was also responsible for sending many people into violent protests that led to their arrest, and now opposition figures have been busy requesting release of political prisoners that engaged in unlawful activities promoted by Maria Machado, while her own children were safely evacuated out of Venezuela many years ago and did not put their families at risk. Russian officials Zakharova, Lavrov, and Putin lied to Venezuela. They claimed that Russia's friendship and fight along Venezuelan forces was final, while it seems that they were slowly drifting Nicolás Maduro apart, although there is a possibility that since they also got along with Delcy Rodríguez, and they realized that Delcy Rodríguez is more economically capable than Nicolás Maduro, who was a hardline Stalinist communist, following economic decline of former Soviet Union, perhaps Lavrov, Putin, and Zakharova were always plotting along with the United States against Maduro, while claiming hypocritically that they were their friends. But Venezuelan nationals who had to hear patriotic propaganda from Russians are now seeing that Russia was never really an ally, and neither was China, because nobody did anything. It was just too easy to extract Maduro, and it seems that there was a worldwide plot, and it seems that nobody really wanted to fight for Maduro. Delcy Rodríguez now has the opportunity of running the protectorate of Venezuela. Venezuela nowadays is a United States protectorate similar to Puerto Rico, where we remain with a flag and with a national anthem. However, our local laws are strictly monitored by the United States. Venezuela is even receiving fresh visa priorities in competition with other Caribbean countries, which now are making it harder for their citizens to get United States visas, while Venezuelans from now on will have easier access to United States visas, just like Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana. Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, and Venezuela, by design of the United States, will now form a unified United States protectorate bloc within northern South America, and disputes between Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, and Venezuela will slowly but noticeably fade away as United States oil and gas interests in Venezuela, Trinidad and Tobago, and Guyana are identical, and they will be treated as a whole. Business opportunities between Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, and Venezuela should enhance, and perhaps the long-term goal of building a binational Essequibo refinery for usage jointly between Venezuela and Guyana will this time be feasible for medium-term investment from the United States. Presidents of Brazil and Russia, Lula and Putin, very late spoke about Venezuela when the aggression was already consumed. Lula and Putin were supposed to include Venezuela into the BRICS system of countries in 2024. We are now in 2026. Venezuela is already a United States protectorate. Putin and Lula took too long to agree on doing something with Venezuela. They already lost Venezuela as part of their sphere of influence, and there is not much what they can do, as their sudden interest to have a common ground is extemporary. Narratives against United States favoring a decline in favor of a multipolar world, according to international law, were absolutely destroyed last January 3rd by extracting Nicolás Maduro from the presidency. The world shifted to multipolarity to renewed unipolarity. Veronica Shadow fleet tanker was seized by United States Coast Guard, being this the sixth such seizure. The tanker is now at disposal of United States authorities with allegations of evading sanctions. This time, Venezuelan authorities did not cooperate with United States, and PDVSA did not issue an applause communique. And Venezuela's foreign ministry has not issued a complaint either. Venezuela is realizing that it will become impossible to export any oil without authorization of United States, which is the country that is enforcing our protectorate status. During the next few days, part of the $500 million deal made by Donald Trump by selling Venezuelan oil should make its way into the Venezuelan economy, or at least that is what economists are proposing. Venezuelans on the street are desperate to see any of that come true, and asking for patience is hard when people are accustomed to endless failure. President Delcy Rodríguez pronounced at the Venezuelan National Assembly a State of the Union address. President Rodríguez is promising that oil proceeds from oil sales at market rate, which is almost double the price than previous discounts, should be funneled to new mechanisms for health and infrastructure for Venezuelans. And everything should be conducted by a new electronic anti-corruption system that will be designed to eliminate middlemen. Middlemen are also about to be eliminated in official paperwork for citizens. Bureaucracy in Venezuela has traditionally been a nuisance. The most simple paperwork, yearly registries of small businesses, require several lawyers and several certified public accountants just to get approved. Complying with Venezuelan laws in such details is absolutely confusing and time-consuming. Simplicity of reporting requirements, as promised by Delcy Rodríguez, should be a welcome business boost for Venezuela. Hydrocarbon law is expected to be reformed by the National Assembly so that most oil companies investing in Venezuela can benefit of the terms already available for Chevron Corporation. Petroleum investors are likely to warm up to the idea of investing in Venezuela once the new hydrocarbon law is passed through Congress during the next few months. Maria Machado flew to Washington to meet President Donald Trump. She entered the White House through a service back door. She was not offered red carpet treatment, and the press was busy at the main section of the White House listening to Caroline Leavitt, press secretary, speaking wonders of Venezuelan President Delcy Rodríguez, who works well along with her team with Donald Trump's team. Caroline Leavitt expressed that Donald Trump made the right decision in dumping Maria Machado to favor Delcy Rodríguez. All of that was being said while Maria Machado was speaking in a clandestine fashion with Donald Trump at some secondary or tertiary back room in the White House, and she was quickly escorted out of the place with no press record. During the afternoon, Maria Machado was able to meet with a subsection of the United States Senate, featuring both Democrat and Republican senators. Usual faces such as Rick Scott were seen. At the Senate, Maria Machado was slightly better treated, as there were photo opportunities and a small press conference where Maria Machado committed the sacrilege of donating her Nobel Peace Prize medal to Donald Trump. The Nobel Prize Committee should void this year's Nobel Peace Prize, as it seems that it has been awarded to two people simultaneously without Nobel Peace Prize consent. Nobel Peace Prize was supposed to be untransferable. However, Maria Machado transferred it to Donald Trump. Perhaps she always knew she never deserved such Nobel Peace Prize. Delcy Rodríguez, during her State of the Union address, said that should she ever go visit Washington, she will not engage in such humiliating lobbying or giving away treasuries to Donald Trump, as Delcy Rodríguez prefers a mutually respectful relationship. The tone of Delcy Rodríguez in formal occasions is adequate and formal, while when she speaks to her socialist communist base, is loaded with anachronistic Cuban Soviet paraphernalia. It would be challenging for Delcy Rodríguez to convince comunas to engage in efficiency. However, comunas receive funding from the federal government, which has entailed them to accumulate some initial capital. We shall see if comunas will be successful in producing with such capital, or if they will always need government subsidies. As we were speaking before, there is no middle ground in Venezuela. We are experiencing fight of simultaneous capitalist and communist entrenched ideologies, and peaceful coexistence as proposed by Delcy and Jorge Rodríguez remains to be seen as a reality rather than utopia. Delcy Rodríguez facilitated Edmundo González Urrutia, president-elect in the elections of 2024, escape into Spain, and there are increasing rumors that Delcy also cooperated with the extraction of former dictator Nicolás Maduro, as the whole planet prefers dealing with Delcy than with Maduro, who tended to produce conflict. People say Delcy Rodríguez is a traitor. However, everybody wanted that such traitor existed because the economy under Nicolás Maduro was unendurable, unfeasible, and not technocratic. If President Delcy Rodríguez helped oust Nicolás Maduro, history will reward her for doing that. As the charges imposed into Nicolás Maduro will be debated in United States courts, his defense says that he can be freed, while the accusation is expecting many years of prison. However, if Nicolás Maduro were still in power right now, we would still be suffering military harassment from the United States, and we would not be having the necessary economic reforms that we are enjoying right now, even though results will take a few more weeks or months to be noticed.